Here we have Ravel Tales, 12 fun surprises inside. We will unwind to find, and it is a Series 1 edition. So we have our mystery animals, collect them all, and we shall unravel the yarn to find out who we will get. Here we have our instructions, so we will reveal treasures along the way. And here is a preview of what we will find inside. Let's see what it looks like on the inside. So we have a giant ball of yarn, rainbow yarn, bed filler. Ooh, we get to create. And then in the bottom, we have our instructions. And how we can create friendship bracelets. That's amazing. And a friendship necklace. Well, this one's going to be fun in a box because we can do multiple things with this. Wow. Ravel Tales Series 1, the more you unwind, the more you find. And here is our checklist book. I wonder which animal we will get. All right, let's start the unraveling. Here we have our sewing needle. We have made it past the thick rainbow yarn, and now it has exposed yellow yarn. Pom-pom. So we have a little heart and a star. Looks like a little keychain holder. And now we're going into thinner yarn. Okay, here we go. Look who it is. Bed yarn. Oh, we have a bracelet. And a bunch of charms. There's a little carrot and a rainbow. So we are going to separate all of this and start organizing it so we can create. It's a cute little pink poo-poo charm too. All right. First, we're going to see which little animal we got. And we got Bibs, which is right here. This really cute yellow and pink tie-dye bear. We're going to get to construction next. Before we get started, let's dive into our mountain of string. I'm going to start separating all this, but if you have tangle strings like me, that's okay. We will get through the process of it. Honestly, you guys, this should be called Tangle Tales because it is so tangled. So it's going to take me a little bit of time to unravel and reveal all of our necklace and bracelet pieces. It's literally like going through a jewelry box and going through this frustration part of untying all your necklaces. So here we go. Here's our spider web. I'll be back. We are down to our final knot. Almost there. It literally tangled its own braid in there. My goodness. We did it. We did it. So here we have our separated bundles of yarn, and we shall start creating. We are going to start with our bed first. And we have our embroidered little yarn ball there, and on the other side is like our tie-dye printed yellow and pink fabric to go with our matching cute little bear. So we will, for our stitching, use the bed yarn, and we will also grab our yellow sewing needle, our plastic sewing needle here, and that's what we will use to stitch around the outer edge, as like what our instructions here are guiding us to do. And then we're going to leave a little space so that way we can, over here, we're going to leave a little space so that way we can stuff our, what we have here called bed filler, into our little cloud pillow. Let's get to it. So here we are, just threading our bed yarn. And we will start with a corner piece. I'm going to start here. And I'm going to start going through one hole and then through the next. And we're going to pull it all the way through. It's a very long piece of yarn, so try not to get it tangled along the way. And let's make it to the end, where we can leave a little bit of length for when we tie it when we're finished. And we will continue to stitch through our edging. And make sure to match up those holes. We don't want to miss one. And you'll start to get a stitch like this. Now please do keep in mind that when you come through your holes with your needle, to always point the needle away from your face. You don't want any surprises to poke you in the eye. It can be very dangerous, so always pull that needle away from your face. And when you are pulling on your string, you do want to have a bit of tension, but you don't want to create it to be too tight, so that way when you stuff it, it's not going to be all gathered and bunched together like so. Let's continue along. So I have made it to a point now where I have a small gap of space where we can start to fill our stuffing. So we're going to place our needle down. We're going to open up our pouch and let's get our stuffing in. Here's what our pillow looks like so far. So I'm just going to mush all of that string, yarn, all that stuffing into the corners. And then we are going to just stitch up our small opening here. So we will continue with our needle and thread, and we will meet it at the last hole, and then we can tie the two pieces of string together. Here we have our strings ready to be tied. So we have one on each side, so that when we tie it, it keeps it nice and secure closed there. So let's do our knot. And I'm going to double knot it so that way it is extra secure. Now we're ready to trim our strings off. Our strings are now tied off, cut off, and we can start fluffing up our pillow. So let's push all of that yarn into the corners. And that way we have a nice and even fluffy pillow for our animal to sit on. Our little bear. She's a sleepy bear. She's gonna go for a nap. We're gonna work on our pom-pom next. Our first step in creating our pom-poms, we will have 2 of them to make, we need to measure a 6-inch long string here, and they have a ruler. So we will use our paper as our guideline here, up to here, and we will trim that off. And this piece we will then use to tie together our centerpiece for our pom-pom. Now that we have our string for our center tie cut, we can start to use our little U-shaped tool, and we will start to wrap our yellow yarn around it until we have no more yarn left. So let's do that next. I'm just gonna hold my thumb over this starting point of our string while we now wrap around all of the string that we have left. It says about 25 times, so here we go. I recommend that as you're wrapping and you get close to the loop part of your U here, you just kind of hold your fingers here so that way it doesn't slide right off. And we will continue to wrap until we no longer have thread left. We have come to the end of our yarn, and you will see your little clip. So we're going to remove our sticker and our clip, and we will start the next step of our pom-pom. Now with the string that we cut earlier, we are just going to feed it through this space here, and then we're going to tie it in the middle like so, and it's going to create what we have here. I noticed that our yarn actually unravels into multiple strings, so instead of me using the whole bulk for the center, I'm going to slide it out, and we are just going to choose probably half of that, so 2 of these strands. I'm just going to place the clip down, and then we will repeat what we just did with feeding through the string, the yarn, into the base of our clip here. I got one through. Let's get our other one through. Just like so. And then we are going to do a tie at the top. So you want to do your tie at the top because this is where our clip is going to be. And I've just tied it once, so I haven't knotted it yet because I'm going to tie it to the clip. So we have our little purple heart clip here. And now we will knot it together. Now we're going to take our scissors and we're going to trim along the edges. Very carefully. And here we have our fluffed out pom-pom. Now this guy does have some, pieces that are a little bit longer, so we can go in and, give him a little bit of a haircut to even it out. Or if you like it to be a little bit more funkier looking, then just leave it as is. But here we are with our first pom-pom. We are now ready to create our second pom-pom with our blue little star charm keychain holder. So I wanted to try something just a bit different. So I started by giving a little bit of slack where our little keychain charm is. And then when I wrapped it, I have this part here where I'm going to try to loop it under and around. See if we can eliminate that first step where we had to cut that 6-inch piece string to tie in the middle. However, as you can see, there's not enough space to fit that through. So I'm going to take this piece off and just use the string, and then we can reattach it. So I fed the string through. I just took the charm off. I'm just going to tighten this. I notice that if this piece is really tight, it just kind of helps so that the movement of the strings don't shift back and forth. So we will keep that nice and tight. And now I'm going to slide it under, tie it here, and then we will attach our little hanging keychain piece. So here we have our little top knot here, and we are going to tie our keychain star clip to the top. So let's do another knot right at the top here. And we shall double knot it for a more secure fit. I kept that little sticker on there because it's actually almost working as a little sewing needle there, because there is 3 pieces of yarn attached to that. Okay, here we go. So now we're going to trim our sides, and we are going to start seeing that pom-pom come alive. So we're almost there. A heads up too, you don't want to wrap your string too tight because it will be harder to slide the scissors underneath it. So that's just a little tip to share. And here we have our one side all trimmed. So now we're going to repeat the same thing on this side, and then we will fluff up our pom-pom. So now that we have both of our sides trimmed, we're going to slip out our blue horseshoe piece and fluff up our pom-pom. And like I said too, if you want to give it a more even haircut with your scissors, just carefully trim around. And if you like a little bit more wild, leave it as is. But here we have our 2 yellow pom-poms. Yay! Now it is time to move on to our jewelry pieces. So for our jewelry, we have Ravel Tales friendship bracelets, Ravel Tales friendship necklace, and Ravel Tales pet collar. And I will mention too, there is going to be 3 braided friendship bracelets to create. So that will be why we will see 3 of the star stickers with the bracelet labels on them. So this is perfect for you and 2 other of your best friends. We're going to start by removing our charm from our yarn, and we will just put it aside for later. Now with our yarn, we're going to fold it so that it creates 3 pieces together. And then we're going to loop a knot and trim so that we will have 3 loose hanging strands of yarn before we start braiding it. So you should have a loop and 1 loose strand of yarn. And now we are going to tie our knot. So loop it around, we're going to feed it through. And we just want to make sure that we don't have too long of a loop where we tie our knot, because that is going to help to tie our bracelet together. And there we are. We're ready to start braiding. So this is also something that can be challenging because there's nothing to hold the loop secure while we braid it, so it's kind of up in the air. So if you have like a little hair clip that you can clip to your shirt or your pants, or a little hook that you can stick this on so that way it has a bit more support. Or you know what, even better, how about a friend just to hold that end while you create your braid, and then when it's their turn, you can help them with their braid as well. Now before we actually start braiding, I noticed that we still have that loop on the bottom that we will need to trim, like in our instructions here. So we're just going to take our scissors and trim that piece so that way we now have the 3 loose strands. Now we're ready to braid. And once you start braiding, it'll start looking like this. Now before we go and braid the entire length of the string, because it is quite long, we're just going to want to measure the wrist of your best friend. So that way you know how long to make the fit of the bracelet. Not too tight, but not too loose that it'll fall off. It's time to tie off our braid and tie on our charm. I'm just going to feed the knot through the charm and slide the charm down, as it's easier to place that bit through instead of the loose ends. Now we can tie off our charm. And we will knot it. This will help keep our charm staying put. Make sure it's nice and tight. There we are. Going to take the scissors and just trim our extra string. And here we have our little braided bracelet. Let's also go back to our starting point, and we're going to trim that loose bit of stringing hanging so that way it doesn't tickle our wrist. And now we can loop our charm into the loop that we created, and here we have our friendship bracelet. Let's put it on. So it can be challenging to do this on yourself, so having a best friend there with you can really help. However, this is the way that you can pop your own bracelet on yourself too. And there we have it. Our braided charm bracelet. We have 2 more bracelets to create, so let's put them together. So I will share that I did read the instructions wrong. It's a 3 braided friendship bracelet. So there are 2 best friend bracelets, and the 3rd one is really to be used for your necklace. So I kind of made an oopsie, but that's okay if you have 3. If there's 3 of you guys for best friends, so you have 2 best friends and yourself, you can create 3 bracelets too. But I did notice that for the necklace, one of those charms would then be placed on your necklace. And we will flip over our instructions, and that charm will be placed into the middle of our 3 braided strand. So since I made 3 bracelets instead of 2 bracelets in a necklace, that's okay. I'm just going to move forward and start to create our little collar necklace. So using the same steps that we did to create our bracelet, and if you did create a necklace, to create your necklace, we will do the same method to create our pet collar. And you can kind of measure too. So this is the length of my bracelet, and that would actually make the perfect length for my pet collar too. And I do have this charm, and it says Bibs on it. So let's create Bibs a collar. So I've made my braid, And now I'm going to slide our collar charm through. And now we can measure. I may have made it just a little bit long, but we can always shorten it. Just like so. So let's tie off our back. So I've tied off my back, and I'm just going to do a couple extra knots just to create a larger hole to the closure. That way our loop doesn't slide off as easy. Now I can also double loop that so that way it is more secure, but I will say I like it as is. So now we're ready just to trim our excess length. And there we have it, our cute little pet collar necklace. Bibs, adorable. So here we have it, our awesome creations from our Ravel Tale box, Series 1 collection, and we happen to get bibs. I hope you guys had fun watching. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you at the next one. Bye.